request the panelist Pankaj Mohindro from the moderator of the session to join Sir on the stage. Next, we have Ashwani Mohar from DDG. Uh, can you please join? Next, we have Rishikesh Parankar from NSDC. Next, we have Priyanka Anand from Ericsson. Next, we have Sumit Kumar from Team Lease. And last but not least, Manoj Kumar Singh from DIPA. Thank you, everyone. Um, Over to you, Sir Pankaj, sir, for moderating the session. Thank you, everyone.
The best thing when you have a senior army officer as the CEO of the TSAC is that the SOPs are always in order. So you never worry that the the post. Obviously, it's very efficient also, but I think all the SOPs are really in order. And we had the privilege of General Kochar earlier. So, and I want to welcome you, General Gawas. So, we had this similar session last year also, and I think we have been very self-congratulatory in the telecom industry, as I see from all the headlines. So, if you see that movie, The Last Samurai, there's a captain of the US Army who's fighting for them with the samurai. And the emperor asks him, tell me how the samurai died. So he said that, I want to tell you how he lived. So I'd like the panel to, not be self-congratulatory, but that will be a little difficult for the gentleman from DOT for obvious reasons. But we would like to see the big gaps, because let's define what we are capable of as a nation, as an industry, is to be the best in the world, the best in class. I was just telling the group that sub-Saharan Africa and India were at similar GDPs for years. In fact, till 2013, we were growing at a similar rate. And after 2013, we've outstripped them. We are nearly $4 trillion. Sub-Saharan Africa is under $2 trillion. So we've done better than someone. But have we done better than the rest of the world? Have we fired on our potential? So I'd like to keep that as the center theme, that how we can be the best in class, because we as a nation are under a tremendous challenge at the moment. You know what is going on geopolitically. So every little pocket of value creation possible, we have to optimize. So my request is that if we can be deeply analytical about the gaps and so on. So this will be my first question to all the panelists, that where do you think are the deep gaps and the strengths of this country as far as skilling and, in this sector, which is now a very large sector, because the supply chain is common with electronics. You have AI, you have quantum, you have all these things. So it's not related to just the bottom of the pyramid skills, but a more comprehensive this thing. Please. Yes, yes. You
Hello.
obviously have the first word and the last word, the government, in this sector.
I think we should listen industry first, since we are policy makers. So we would like to listen to the industry and then align our policies in accordance to that. So would better hand over this thing to Ericsson and uh, the industry other players.
That's a very deft answer, and and it's a very positive beginning. It's a very positive beginning. Could you imagine that somebody from DOT is saying this 2 decades back? So I think this itself is a very refreshing and a good beginning. Can we go to Mr. Patanka?
Thank you, Pankaj sir. I think in India, the skilling system is evolving. And if you see the overall digital transformations, fintechs, which have come from the last 2 decades, we are seeing the transformations. India is truly on the development side. The inclusive development is propelling it, and we are the largest growing economy in the world. And with all the things in place, actually, if you see from the top, we are having the right kind of push from the political side, from the government side. There are a lot of initiatives where transformations are coming in, lot of ideas are being given, a lot of importance. Innovation is happening in not only in the private sector, but in the government sector also. There are a lot of interchange of ideas. There are inter-ministerial consultations. Government wants to work with industry, as we are seeing live here that DOT wants to listen from the industry first. So I think there are a lot of changes which are happening. The landscape is there. If you talk about telecommunication, we have the right kind of framework, infrastructure on the ground with BharatNet, optical fiber, the connectivity on the ground, reaching the last mile, reaching the citizens at their doorstep, right kind of quality training institutions, right from BSNL, MTNL, and many other telecom companies who have put in the efforts. We have right kind of trainers in our ecosystem. Our education system is aligned to the skilling. Education basically creates opportunities, but skilling will give that employability touch to the ecosystem. And degrees are always important, but as our Honorable Prime Minister said, skills make them indispensable. So I am authoring skilling as a focus area, and that is what the government of India has also recognized. There are multiple activities. I was just seeing outside, there is a poster on circular economy. So a lot of work in going in that space. We are, in fact, the country overall is moving ahead. But then, as Pankaj sir suggested, there are multiple challenges. One is the skilling gaps which are there in the country, which we want to basically fill with right kind of approach, maybe some innovative models which will work or which might not work. There will be a lot of challenges, but I think our youth and our policy makers are there. We are moving ahead in the right direction. I'll speak more once I get back. Thank you.
Thank you. Priyanka, what is your sense from a global perspective and matching? I think the numbers we are doing well, but in terms of quality, in terms of global penetration, what is your sense?
So, Pankaj, that's a great question and well timed, because the way I look at the entire telecom landscape, right, and I think our Prime Minister kind of said this yesterday as well, that with 1.2 billion users that we have in the whole telecom landscape, we are the largest, almost getting to be the largest and second largest today. And just in the last 2 years, we have 365 million 5G users. These numbers are unprecedented, and almost they get to a scale that people can't even believe when we quote these numbers outside of India, right? And again, to me, the biggest asset that we have is a lot of demos yesterday spoke about our product, indigenous products that we're trying to create for India and for the world, and again, being made in India. And that has all happened because of the skills that we are continuing to invest in. So upskilling is going to be one of the most important tenets of how we continue to harness the success opportunity in India. And upskilling will happen in multiple ways. But what is really important, like most of the others are also saying today, is that industry, academia, and government partnerships have to create the right ecosystem. How do we upskill people with the right technology edge that we need so that we can harness the opportunities that the technology will offer to us, again in the telecom space? But when you read the recent reports, it's quite evident that we have a current gap of 2.4 million talented, skilled workers that we need to fulfill the needs of the telecom space. And if we don't work proactively towards the upskilling, bridging the upskilling gap, this will become almost 10 million gap by 2030. So what's really evident is upskilling is needed. And if I talk about the corporate intention that we have from an Ericsson lens, we are continuing to partner with DOT to create, with this Apex training body, with BSNL and 100 plus 5G labs, where we are creating upskilling for the people, and they can access instructor-led online learning opportunities to more than 10,000 students every year. And then we're also continuing to partner with TSSC and the Delhi Skills Entrepreneurship University to create online learning modules on 5G, IoT, machine-led learnings, agentic AI. So all I'm trying to say is we have to play the game from the front. We've got to make sure that those opportunities are not available just to the privileged, but the larger ecosystem gets to leverage those learning opportunities. And when we invest, we don't have to just stop there, because that is just the beginning. Imparting learning and upskilling opportunities is just the beginning of the whole journey. The real proof of the pudding will come when we can make them ready to use skills for the larger ecosystem, government, corporates like us, and even the overall university ecosystem. And that will really happen when we get them more access to labs, internships that we're talking about, apprenticeships that the government is talking about. So all of us to come together to create that learning from classroom into on the ground. And again, with Ericsson, we're creating the largest A6 R&D base in Bangalore, A6 engineers. We're creating manufacturing of antennas. So we're becoming not just a service delivery organization with 22,000 employees sitting in India for Ericsson, but we are saying we want to up the game. How do we create more R&D? With 2,000 R&D engineers, we're creating for the world, innovating for the world from here. So overall, the ecosystem has to go through this mindset change. And that's where the change will begin. And we are right paced at this point to make that happen.
Wonderful. I'll go to Sumit now. Sumit, what is your perspective? Team Lease we are very fond of this company, and you are not only thought leaders, which many of us are, but also creating great outcomes. So from the globalization point of view, where do you think the gap is? Because today we are stressed. There are huge job losses in certain sectors, especially with the US tariffs. So can we realign? Can we find a happy landing for some of these people, nationally and globally?
Absolutely, sir, definitely. In fact, when we talk about the gaps which currently exist, it's always about how the skilling is happening in India. Now, today, we always say that there are so many skilling schemes which are there are centers being, set up for the skilling. But skills cannot be, taught. They have to be caught. They have to be acquired. You cannot acquire a skill by sitting in a controlled environment in a classroom. So what's the better way to look at it? And that's exactly how we are different from, the rest of the world. And specifically, if you look at most of the developed economies, they focus a lot on apprenticeship. For any developed economy, they're at least about 3 to 4% of their workforce is part of their apprenticeship. But in India, we are just about 0.27%. Now, that's the gap where exists. Consider the kind of potential what we have. And the potential what we assess is about 20 million apprentices if we were to go by the same equation of 3 to 4% of the labor force. So what needs to be done? I think what really we need to look at is, like as an organization, we kind of facilitate the entire arrangement between the academia, the industry, and the youth. And even if I were to look from a global point of view, there's a degree apprenticeship, which is very popular, specifically in the Europe. Now, you spoke about degrees, then we also speaking about the relevance of skill. How do you match that together? How do you make apprenticeship more aspirational? So the idea is that can apprenticeship lead to a degree? Can there be a qualification corridor? Fortunately, today the policy definitely exists with new education policy being in place, which is definitely at par with some of the global, education standards that we're trying to set. Even I would also like to acknowledge here that very recently there's an economist in UK which kind of considered or recognized India apprenticeship system, he kind of appreciated this entire system. But the fact is that till date we have only, as I said, 0.27%. Now, from an adoption point of view, we have roughly about 50,000 organizations that are doing apprentices. So where are the employers? While they are looking for talent, are they investing in building talent, or they only look at buying the talent from outside? Can they balance this whole equation? If you talk about the industry academia collaboration, which today gets facilitated because of the new education policy, how many academia have been successfully able to collaborate with the industry and vice versa? That's a question mark. There are roughly about 2 lakh organizations which are registered onto the apprenticeship portal, but as I said, it's just about 25%, 50,000 are doing apprentices. So it's also a difference between intent versus the reality. I think those are the gaps which exist, but definitely today we have come a long way. As I said, that while we have just 0.27%, but over last, I would say 5 years, we've seen almost 100% growth in the apprenticeship intake as compared to where we were in 2020 versus 2025. Even in terms of 100% growth in the adoption by the employees, we were 20,000 employees then, we are about 50,000 employees today. But having said that, yes, we need to increase the pace if we really have to build the talent pipeline, and we want to be the skill capital for the world. So
Very nice. Thank you. Manoj, what is your take on the similar lines? That we have a large workforce in your sector, which is the infrastructure, and we have a reasonable global presence also. I mean, not too big, but reasonable. So how can we step up and become the infrastructure provider for the world?
Thanks, Pankaj. And rather, it is a question which everybody need to think. While one side we say that we are the global leaders in telecom, but we must remember that telecom is a sector in which all three categories of labor, white collar, blue collar, all kind of skill sets are required. And this is a sector in which technology evolves so fast that in 18 to 24 months, its shelf life is only 18 to 24 months. So forget the days when we say that have a degree once and serve for rest 30, 35 years. Now you have to recertified every 24 months. So that kind of sector in which we are. By the time my 4G deployment is over, 5G is on the verge. By the time 5G is over, we are listening now 6G. I was listening to the numbers spoken by Priyanka that 375 or 365 million subscribers of 5G. On a contrary, we will listen that there is no monetization case for 5G. What is this? This is actually the skill gap. This is actually the skill gap. While we do not focus too much, but we focus on the innovation, but we simultaneously do not focus toward the skilling of the new innovation being invented. So the product is out in the market, but there are no real and right people to demonstrate the right adoption of those products. That is what the biggest challenge is. In our sector, in infrastructure, we all know that infrastructure has to come first. We all have seen the EV story. Should the EV come first or should the charger come first? That is what the chicken and egg story going on. And infrastructure sector is always being said that it has to come a decade before the actual product comes. Because our monetization model comes after a decade. Is from that point of view, our criticalness to be more proactively readiness toward the skill which is required down the line is rather more critical. If our infrastructure is not capable to host the newer technologies and the newer innovation, the obsolescence of the infrastructure is having a much more cost than the technology itself. Point in case in our tower, what actually India demonstrated to the world. Please remember, our infrastructure of tower infrastructure to readily host 4G was ready much before than the actual 4G was in place. That is what the India has played and demonstrated to the rest of the world. Now today is the 6G. Today tower infrastructure is ready much before the 6G monetization case are in place. There is one more angle to this. And because we are into this sector and we are actually feeling that what is happening. Line between infrastructure A, and that is completely related to the skill. The time has gone when a particular domain expertise was required. Now the line is blurred between the capability A and the capability B. And the same thing we have experienced in our infrastructure. And that's why somebody was asking during my initial pre-discussion that earlier you were a tower infrastructure provider association and today you are a digital infrastructure provider association. Yes, they said yes. The line has blurred. Today this tower asset or infrastructure cannot be a asset delivering the digital services to telecom. It has to deliver the digital services to other sectors as well. That's why the integration of the infrastructure is far more important. And to meet that, the skill set which is required becomes very, very critical. This is my point, Pankaj.
My next two questions are, you see, no discussion can be complete without AI, right? And about entrepreneurship. So on AI, I want all of you to take 1 to 2 minutes each. And I'm not talking about just superfluous, I'm talking about compute, I'm talking about GPUs, ASICs, data centers. Is it disruptive or contributing? Fraud security, cyber security, all of that. In network management, what role will it play? In consumer services, value-added services, what role will it play, etc. So 1 to 2 minutes each on the opportunity or the threat of AI for us from the skilling point of view. Are we ready? Obviously, we are not going to design GPUs at the moment. I'm not sure.
So Indian government has already launched the India AI mission. I think with $2 billion is the India AI mission, and lot of emphasis is at various levels. One is at the trainers level, where college teachers, school teachers are their capacity is being built. Also at the community
See,
level,
Patankar, I like you, sorry to interrupt you, but I don't want a Pravda kind of a discussion. That was the Soviet Union newspaper. Let's go to the deeper things that, what can we do more, right? We dig deeper, you'll get sweeter water,
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So with almost 34,000 GPUs which are available to the current students in the tech side of it, the students who are doing either ITI or BTech, there are a lot of opportunities to work on AI, and there are use cases where a lot of innovations are happening. And with less than $1 of GPU per hour rate in India, we have all the right kind of technology infra in place. At the skilling level, as I mentioned, there are a lot of trainings which are going on AI. There is a SOAR program which the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has launched. There is parallel program with the Ministry of Electronics and IT. Ministry of Communications is doing it. Multiple areas, Government of India as well as corporates, multiple areas where AI is being used. We have the large language models which are put in, and research is going on towards that. And things are right. So I think with our curriculum getting changed, quality being delivered, I think we will surely see some of the models which come out, the language models specifically because of the vernacular nature of the country. I think there are multiple problems which AI will solve, but there is a lot of work which is going on.
Looks very
Rishikesh.
encouraging and exciting.
It does. I think it's so promising to see how there's the whole ecosystem trying to venture into how do we make AI the reality of what was supposed to be happening right now. I'll just go zoom out a bit once more to say that there's lots of myths about AI, right? That students are talking about, the whole ecosystem is talking about, will AI really disrupt the jobs? Will it create more job losses versus job opportunities? How do we really leverage AI to make it more relevant to the today's times that we are living in, both economically but also in the industry? All I would say is, contrary to the illusion or the perception that we are kind of hearing from different corners that will AI reduce or decline the jobs, number of jobs that we need. On the contrary, it's transforming the jobs the way they are being done today, and it's evolving, right? You really see AI transforming the jobs to an extent that what you start human intervention, playing a role in making the jobs more meaningful and more impactful. And when we talk about AI, I think the biggest revelation is we've got to really look at the work designs. How do we restructure the jobs that we are doing to be able to make them more AI savvy so that the tactical and transactional part of the jobs is done by the technology and human interventions really bring out the value from those jobs. And what's important is not just about creating newer talent pools, which people who are AI savvy, because the Gen Z are digital natives. So for them, it comes easy. But how, as an ecosystem, we upskill the people that we have to become digital literates, to become AI savvy, right? So what we're really trying to do, again, I would talk about Ericsson as one of the examples, Pankaj, that we're creating huge digital labs, we're creating digital repositories, we're creating anytime, anywhere learning, but encouraging and almost making it non-negotiable or zero tolerance for people to be on an AI upscaling journey. So that clearly creates the shift that you need as an organization and as an ecosystem. Once you do that, you create opportunities of changing the work designs to take those learnings into on-job real implementations, right? And the third thing I will definitely say is AI is here to transform the way we're experiencing our normal lives today, but also the works. So we're talking about AI intelligent networks, we're talking about machine learning, we're talking about automation, and then these networks start to create more intelligent outcomes and throughputs for our customers, for end user experiences. And we look at API designs, we look at cybersecurity, like you spoke about, various other opportunities where we can start creating more leverages for our customers and end users to leverage and experience AI in different ways. So my whole take would be there's a systemic change we need to make to not just think about AI as something which is a demon sitting on the side, but bring it to the mainstream. And when we do that, we start to see a compounding impact that it can create to the way we do our jobs, but the way we monetize it, both for our own needs, but even for the customers and operators that we are servicing. And to me, the apprenticeships, the internships, and the overall ecosystem that we are trying to build to be able to leverage this AI opportunity is going to become fundamental to the future we want to experience. Over to you, Pankaj.
Manoj. So, what it appears, that as users of AI, we are okay because we have created a base. But I mean, going more deeper into network management, infrastructure management, what do you see is the role of AI with your tech? Are they safer because of AI, your technicians who are top of the tower?
So thanks, Pankaj. And I will just go to your initial thought that you want a very clear answer. Okay.
Yes.
So when I say clear answer, how many of you have used the ChatGPT? Okay, good. ChatGPT gives answer first and justification later. And that's what Pankaj want. Okay. So the first question he had, that whether AI is a threat or is an opportunity. So I have to answer as a ChatGPT that is it a threat or an opportunity?
AI has more intellectual integrity than human beings.
Absolutely, yes. So the answer is, it is opportunity. And the same thing happened, the same debate happened when in 1970s the computer came. कि computer मेरी job ले लेगा. And what happened? Has it taken the job? No, it has created a newer type of jobs. So that's the scenario with the AI. AI has, and that Pankaj has reinforced that it is having more integrity, more intelligent than the human being. So it will not take away the job, rather it will make us more efficient. So answer to the very last question which Pankaj asked, that is it making any, you can say, supportive role in our tower management, network management? Answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. And a kind of setup in which we are. When I say kind of setup, two focus. Distributed right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Second, non-gated. There are many applications in which we are present in Kashmir to Kanyakumari, but it is a gated complex. Our network stands tall into the community with no supervision, no guard, with no operator. In that condition, the AI plays a much more important role than any other application it is. So that's what my specific answer, Pankaj.
Is your technician safer?
Absolutely, absolutely. Why it is so? What happens? Safety is a algorithm of behavior of an individual, type of the job he is going to perform, the type of infrastructure on which he is going to perform, the type of tools and tackles he is going to use.
Very nice.
This AI gives a predictability that this job which you are going to perform in this scenario, because simulation is very important, Pankaj. Okay. Same car is safe on road A, but not safe on road B. So that simulation, humanly it is impossible to do. So I strongly feel that AI has a very, very important role to play in the safety of a human being or a safety of a technician, which is very specific, and I'm thankful to Pankaj that he's focusing too much towards safety of individual. So AI plays a very, very vital role.
Thank you. And yeah, please.
No, I think definitely, when we talk about AI, it's definitely
A
resetting.
more comprehensive one.
Yeah.
The users, Patankar has said that we have done gloriously well and all that. Base ban gaya hai. But my tiered question. I'm happy with Manoj's answer, but a tiered, starting from compute, design, ASICs, all of that. Are we ready for it, or these are not skills which you are trying to create?
Oh, definitely, sir. In fact, today, as I was, saying, that today the AI is definitely reimagining, resetting, realigning the jobs, which, Priyanka has already spoken about the way the jobs are getting transitioned. But it's also realigning the workforce and even the workplace as well. Today, you realize that AI is uh, both from a development point of view, the skills required from a development, but at the same time, the skills required to consume AI. I'm a non-techie, but am I equipped to consume AI for the efficiency and productivity which you were harping on, So we've seen a lot of initiative today uh, from the employers today that how they are reskilling their existing workforce to improve their workforce productivity, or I would say the business's economic productivity. That's one part of it. With obviously we see that 85% of the organization today are consuming AI in some form or the other, and if their workforce is not equipped to handle that, there's a definitely misalignment between the work and the workforce. But having said that, coming from a skilling point of view, as a process, today we realize that, in fact, that's something which we already initiated, is that how through AI we are trying to create more bespoke programs, which is leading to more personalized learning for each individual, to a batch, to from job role to an individual kind of a thing. But at the same time, we're trying to build in more predictability in terms of the ability of a person to complete from a staffing point of view, what's the predictability of a person to continue? Is it there's a attrition risk, something associated with it? So I think those are the areas where how AI is getting consumed today by a non-tech companies to ensure their productivity, kind of a thing. So that's what I would just like to mention here.
I've slightly changed track. There's an interim question which I'm going to ask, which is very fundamental. You see, we say we are the second largest market in the world, telecom market. But how much value is being credited? We are a very strange country that our mobile phone sale in value is higher than our services sale. It's the only country in the world. Our mobile phone sale is 3.5 lakh crores, and our services revenues are about 1 lakh crores less. This is the only country in the world like that, which has been good because of cheap data rates, etc. But is this sustainable for true value? Because the government is taking a lot out of the industry in terms of revenue. But you've seen now the new thing that GST rationalization, etc., that the government has wanting to put the money back in the pockets of the consumers. So true optimization, true value creation, true skills, can it happen in such a small industry? 2.5 lakh crores is what? Nothing. It's how many $1 billion? So it's a miracle. This structure is a miracle that, what is it, 5 cents now, the data rates? 4, 5 cents, right? So is it time for realigning, repositioning the industry, keeping the larger value creation in mind? We'll come to him the last, but that will be very important. Yes, please. I mean, if you want to skip the question, then it's your choice.
Thank you. Thank you once again. Again, ChatGPT answer. Very specific answer. Are we adequately remunerated or we are getting a returns on our investment? Answer is no. Answer is absolutely no. And before I come to the actual point, I will again one more example. Telecom started in 1990 or so.
95.
95. And first ROW policy came when? 2016, 15, 16. 20 साल लग गए ROW को समझने में. Telecom पहले आ गया. When we go, one more example, I'm consuming time, Pankaj. Our penetration rate is faster than the power. हम वहाँ पे network लगाते हैं जहाँ बिजली भी नहीं होती है. And that's why we run on diesel sometimes. So it means...
No, I've already complimented the industry and the government that you've done an incredible job. My question is, it is sustainable?
So
please get out of the self-congratulatory thing. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm thanked that you are so specific to the answers.
Yes.
It is not sustainable at all. Telecom is basically considered as a telephony only, which is a history now.
Yes.
It is a history now. We are not a telephony. We are a infrastructure to the rest of the industries and rest of the applications. The way the power sector was 2 decades back, that बिना बिजली के industry नहीं लग सकती. Same situation is today. बिना digitalization के industry नहीं sustain कर सकती. But what happens? I remember one of my promoters' statement a decade back कि हम highway बनाते हैं, लोग उस पे आके गाड़ी चलाते हैं. It is something like that. And then the highway provider get less share than the car maker or the car user. And the same is the situation today. We make infrastructure, digital infrastructure, but because of this very, very low cost data rate in our country, the kind of return which we get as a telecom industry or a digital industry, and a kind of return when the user get by using the same digital infrastructure, it is disparity. It is absolutely non-sustainable. So we have to get some parity that our returns are at par to the users who are using this digital infrastructure and providing those services. So that is a very, very precise answer, Pankaj.
Sumit?
So I think I'll just hear from others.
Okay. Priyanka?
I can just add, like what Manoj is saying is pretty much the reality of our industry. We work with operators.
Pay us a little more for our network also.
And I truly feel the current situation is not sustainable, right? With decreasing ARPUs, increasing costs. Of course, there are things like AI that will come in and create better service delivery efficiencies. But cost, like you said, the service delivery cost is so high and the revenues are shrinking. It clearly needs a whole ecosystem partnership to come together. If we all try and solve this problem from our own standpoints, we will never come to an outcome that will make this industry sustainable, just like an airline industry. The competition is so intense that and it's becoming brutal, that it gets to a point of becoming an existential threat or a crisis for this industry. So what we really need to do is look at how we can partner between operators, vendor companies, digital infrastructure companies, leverage technology to reduce our cost of operations, but also make sure that we are coming together in a way that because like you said, it's a fundamental industry today for the existence of this society, for this human mankind, right? In fact, just some years ago, with this whole COVID outburst, we only survived as a mankind because of the telecom infrastructure, because we kept the connectivity going. So the question of whether this industry is crucial for the human existence, the answer is yes. Is it bringing value to the industry? No industry today would have grown at the unprecedented pace at which it has unless telecom was providing the infrastructure and access to talent or technologies that's it anywhere in the world. But unfortunately, if you look at the growth of the telecom industry, right, the operators and the vendor companies, we are almost struggling to survive the cost pressures and bring value unless we pivot into newer venues like enterprise, private network, private 5G networks, leveraging AI and automation to ways in which we can create more efficiencies in the way we operate, but bring value to our customers. It is not going to be sustainable. So Pankaj, to your point, security of our people, like to us, it's a zero tolerance. So safety is zero tolerance that we do any compromise on that. But we need to work hand in glove with the operators in the larger ecosystem to make this industry sustainable. At the current pace, we're all doing good jobs in our spots, but nobody's trying to cross-subsidize each other, and that's not sustainable.
You must be getting impatient to listen to Ashwini ji, but I think we'll give him the last call where he can cover the whole spectrum of this thing. You know, there is a big contradiction. I'm going a little deeper now into technology. There's a big contradiction, the way the generation is evolving, 5G and 6G, and the way the quality of service is. There has been no innovation because you see our thick concrete walls, the way India is built and the way we are, the quality of service in the office, in the house is very, very bad. So are we doing on the technology development, which is keeping in sync with the way you see this layer, the intellectual property guys say that there is no real innovation. You know, this is really just evergreening to sort of motivate them to spend more on the infrastructure, acquisition for the network companies. But anyway, that is a side point. So are we keeping this in mind? Now I'm talking about deeper telecom research. Or there is nothing, you know, there is no fat available to work on all this.
So I think if you get a chance, go to the Ericsson booth, right? There are 3 big test cases that we are showcasing right now. First is intent-based AI optimization of the network, right? So where we're saying zero manual intervention. If you, as an intent-based, define that you want an X throughput through your network to a defined set of customers, then AI can actually try and come back and tell you with all the analysis, what kind of CapEx investments do you need to make to the towers to be able to define and deliver the required throughput to that set of customers in the defined space. So we are leveraging AI
Priyanka,
in that
towers,
ways.
you see, they have a limitation. These technologies are great, but you see, for giving great in-building service, I think let's ask Ashwini ji
Okay.
that how can we overcome this?
Okay, so one after another. One is about sustainability. So see, you said that ROW in 2016 only, but you see now how the government is approaching. We are continuously pursuing with the states. Today also there was a meeting with all the IT secretaries. Government is continuously pursuing that ROW is implemented throughout the country and the TSPs are getting support in this direction. So I'm sure that the kind of population we are having in India, so these rates are also sustainable because the population density which we are having in India is not compared with the Europe and USA. With one tower, how many customers are getting served? It is different than the US and this is why this gap is coming. So I think this is sustainable in the long run, and whenever government is some tweaking in the policy is required, we are also doing it. Like we did in ROW case. Now I come back to this infrastructure part. That roads, we are making roads and people are using it. Similarly, we are now our honorable Prime Minister also said last year, I think, from the Red Fort, that fiber is the new highway. So we are heavily investing in BharatNet. We are reaching to the villages, all 6.4 lakh villages, all 2.5 lakh gram panchayats. So this is also by doing this, we are creating infrastructure so that towers can be erected on the villages also. We can spread this network throughout the country. And I would like to respond to the initial questions also now. Like academia and industry gap, bridging this gap. For this thing, we have done a lot of new initiatives. First of all, it is first time that we are planning, we are under finalization of a PhD scheme, which will be led by the industry. These days, throughout the country, many line ministries and Ministry of Education are running PhD schemes. UGC is also doing it, but it is the academia who runs it. But we are now planning a PhD scheme which will be led by industry, supported by industry, guided by industry, on the topics by industry, so that this will ultimately create a R&D ecosystem, skilled workforce who will be industry ready and who will be immediately can be deployed for the R&D work. So it will be, we need to think globally, like how we are lagging behind, because we are thinking locally only. So now we should think globally how we can create workforce which is globally deployable. Although we are doing great in America, but I'm sure we'll do in India also. Second thing, recently we have initiated one more good thing in Jabalpur. We have started one skill center, high upskilling center. Ericsson is also contributing into it, and Telecom Sector Skill Council has collaborated with Ericsson and Nokia to provide to bridge this skill gap. They are providing courses on 5G, courses on AI and other things, so that college students which are graduates, which are doing undergraduates, so they can come and they can get trained on the real scenarios, and they will find the industry exposure there. So this is how we are approaching it. We are on TTDA fund. Through TTDA fund, we have 120 projects amounting to 300 crore we have already spent. So we are doing it. The government is really, and the next project is advanced communication labs. We will try to establish. We are trying to leverage the laboratories of Nokia, Ericsson, and other players in the industry. And what was the other question?
No, this is very good. A bara masale ki chaat bana di aapne.
Thank you.
Pankaj, in building, because it is very
Just
favorite topic.
30 seconds, yeah, we're slightly running out of time now.
30 seconds only, rather. Because this is the area in which the DPA is very, very actively working. And it will not be right if I don't speak about it. It is basically, your question was, are we adequately innovating around the in-building quality of service? Answer is yes, but the challenge is the adoption at a ground level. एक मिनट लेता हूँ खाली आपसे पूछने के लिए, जब आपके घर में बिजली का कनेक्शन लगता है आप रेंट देते हो कि लेते हो? पानी का कनेक्शन लगता है तो रेंट लेते हो कि देते हो? लेकिन डिजिटल कनेक्शन जब हमारा इन बिल्डिंग सोल्यूशन जब लगता है, जो पंकज का क्वेश्चन है, तो रेंट मकान मालिक रेंट लेता है. So that is what the dichotomy of this challenge is.
Manoj, I beg to disagree. The telecom industry is not a 100-year-old, 200-year-old traditional industry. We are innovators. So we expect better than this.
Absolutely.
How can we send the signals through the water pipeline so that you have great in-building solution? That is the answer I'd like to have. You see, because you can't break the concrete walls.
So
we
that's
will
why,
continue to build like that.
So
but can you send through the water pipeline so that you have great in-building solution? That is an answer which we are looking for.
So Pankaj, answer to this question is to be divided into two. Question which you are asking is how to penetrate the existing walls. Government has come out very proactively.
I'm talking about water now, because
Yes.
water is also a material.
So what I'm saying, the problem is to be divided into two. And that's why government came out with a concept of rating of building. पुराने को कैसे हैंडल करेंगे एक इशू है. And whenever we are in telecom, we have divided the problem into two pieces. How to handle the legacy, how to move forward. Legacy में time spend करेंगे, लेकिन उसके पहले जो आज की डेट में जो बिल्डिंग बन रही है, at least that should be digital ready. That is what the concept government has came out with a rating of building, digital readiness index. That's why DIPA has played a very, very vital role in getting Ministry of Urban Development convinced that
Very nice.
occupation
Excellent.
certificate should only be issued when the digital readiness is being also being certified by a certified agency. Yes, ये जो नई बिल्डिंग बन रही है इसमें पानी बिजली, we all know that occupation certificate require two things, पानी और बिजली. अब उसमें तीसरा ऐड हो गया है digital readiness. So that's the future building we have covered, Pankaj.
Yeah.
Yes, from the legacy piece, yes, we need to innovate that how can we have a, you can say, overriding signals so that it can ride on the existing power cables or a water pipeline, what you said, or penetrate the concrete wall so that it can fire from the outside and have a world-class in-building coverage, which is
Fantastic.
absolutely ready, required.
Do we have time for any audience questions? 5 minutes more. Okay, so we can have some audience questions, and any of you, if you have any, आखिरी ख्वाहिश.
Just wanted to highlight the scheme which was recently launched by Prime Minister, the PM, the ITI upgradation scheme actually. It's a 60,000 crore scheme for industrial training institutes to be upgraded. And the government has said that what IITs have done in the 20th century, they are looking for industrial training institutes, the ITIs, to do in the current century. And with this scheme, 60,000 crore, 30,000 crore is being pumped in by central government, 20,000 by the state government, and around 10,000 crore by the industry. And the major idea is to upgrade the 1,000 ITIs, 200 in hub and spoke mode, around 200 ITIs and 800 in the spoke ITIs. And this will basically create the infrastructure level setup, infrastructure improvement, and the high-end technologies which are coming now, which are written over there also, 6G,
Very good.
semiconductor,
Great.
cloud, all that would be basically delivered through this. And industry linkages would be important in these ITIs. So the canvas is wide actually. Let us come together and work. Thank you.
Great, great. Okay, so over to the audience. Any questions? No observations. Quick questions.
Quick
Sharp.
question. Yes, sir. Myself, Dr. Satish Shankar Kamath. I'm from Medi HSC, safety training provider for all the DIPA partners and also CA. And as moving forward with Manoj sir has said, we have already introduced virtual
Question,
reality. Yeah, question,
please.
sir.
Yeah.
Our training programs has already been recognized by TSSC.
Questions, please.
Question: how
Otherwise, sit down.
can the government sponsor this training programs in skilling, safety trainings?
Of course.
At present, we don't have any programs for skilling, sir.
You give a detailed proposal to DIPA and we'll work with TSSC
Okay, sir.
and get
Thank
it done.
you.
Yeah.
We'll work, Pankaj. Yeah.
It'll be done.
Good afternoon to all the respected dignitaries present here. My name is Amartya Dutt Pandey. I am a BTech student at Faculty of Technology, Delhi University. I'd like to ask that, as Sir said, we have to move forward and compete at a global scale. But how are we going to deal with including 90% of India's workforce that is present in the informal economy? Because if we have to move forward, this is a big chunk that contributes to about half of our nation's GDP, which was 45% for the financial year 22 to 23. So if we just ignore them, then how are we maximizing our potential? How are we maximizing our human resource? Is a question that I'd like to ask.
I think I'll give Ashwini, but I'll give a layer before he answers it. I think the telecom sector, the electronic sector has done a lot for the informal sector because we brought a lot of jobs at the bottom of the pyramid. But go ahead.
I think education and skilling, it is the only answer. By enhancing these two things, we can...
So if I may just answer or just add to that. So I think that's a very valid, observation what you have. But what we have seen, like today, I've done about over 1 million mobilization of the youth towards apprenticeship. 98% of them today have gotten into formal employment. And that's the outcome what we were expecting, because the idea is that how do we make the skilling and education more formal, which can lead to formal employment. So the idea is that as a youth today, are you willing to take up apprenticeship? Are you willing to work as an intern and an apprentice and gain your employability so that you become more job ready? The question still remains that how much is a potential or appetite for the enterprises to absorb, because larger part of it is still, the economy is driven by the MSMEs. But having said that, I think we have seen that kind of a transformation from informal to formal employment, how apprenticeship is driving that part of it, at this point of time.
And you can give some suggestions also. What would you like to do
Yeah.
if for the informal sector? Yeah, next, any other questions, please?
Should I?
No, not now. You can submit a paper.
Okay.
Okay, so
Pankaj, can I just add three things? Number one, I think to his point, it's education for all. So there's a huge amount of access to information, learning platforms that is being made available, right? For example, we've tied up with DOT, like I said, with the Apex Training Institute to give trainings to 22,000 students. With ITI as well, we have those partnerships. We're creating our Ericsson Educate access to 10,000 plus people for both instructor-led and access to online learning platforms and content. My whole take, like Sumit said, is you have an access to information, whether you belong to the informal sect or the formal sect, but the partnership with this entire government diaspora on internships and apprenticeships will give people the ability to bridge the gap between learning in the classrooms or online towards making use of them in the formal structure. And for organizations like us, it gives us the opportunity to test this talent, to be able to scale them up and curate their learnings based on the needs we have for the jobs that we have to offer, and then we can formalize those jobs. So the whole ecosystem is working towards that, but the first trigger is individuals' intent and appetite to secure those learnings.
wonderful. Any last minute 10, 20-second interventions from any of the panelists?
I was just wondering to his question that how this sector is contributing to the informal jobs. Are we not known that informal job like driving, house cleaning, AC conditioning, all these is becoming more formalized by a skill development by certain, say for example, urban clap. What exactly they are doing? They are just certifying and skilling them a very, very basic training before putting them on the job. So we as an individual are preferring those skilled, primary skilled technicians through Urban Clap or through DriveU app, etc., etc. And they are kind of getting informal job into the formal jobs. So definitely these kind of, you can say, pre-trainings, semi-skills type of thing will be a, you can say, catalyzer to a population like India to convert those informal jobs into the formal jobs. That is what my take.
That's what will propel the growth, yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we've had, the panelists have done what they had to do. I hope you enjoyed the discussion and you go back with a different mindset, to create pockets of value creation for the country and the industry. Thank you very much.
To everyone for this insightful session. Now I would request Lieutenant General Kulbhushan Kawas to join us on the stage to provide the token of gratitude to our esteemed panelists by handing out the mementos. Thank you, sir. First, to Pankaj Mohindro, who is the moderator of the session. Next, we have Ashwini Mohar from DOT. Next, we have Rishikesh Patankar from NSDC. Next, we have Priyanka Anand from Ericsson. Next, we have Sumit Kumar from Team Lease. And next, we have Manoj Kumar Singh from DIPA.